Morning.
Good morning, my friend. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Okay, well, good morning, Miss LaShawn Norden. Thank you for
Good
joining me
morning.
today.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Couple days left in this monumental month. Looking forward to some new changes, some new announcements coming out, right?
Yes,
All
yes.
right. So first thing I want you to do is just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Awesome. So I have been born and raised in Florida. So I'm a second generation Floridian. I am married. I've been married to my husband for 20 years this month in April. I have two boys, one 24-year-old. He's a senior at University of Florida. And then I have a freshman that's currently attending school in New York City at Marymount Manhattan College, although he's obviously home for coronavirus quarantine. So we live in Seminole County. I was raised basically in Seminole County. I went to elementary school at Lake Mary Elementary all the way through high school. I attended Seminole State and then moved to South Florida for about 4 years and immediately came back because I just loved everything that Central Florida has to offer. And that's about it. I've been in real estate for 18 years. I love this job. I love connecting with clients. I love researching. I love providing market knowledge. I am an educator by trade. That is my degree. So I always feel like I go into extra detail for people so that way they don't have to dig and find things online. I try to provide as many resources as I can up front so they can make an educated decision when they're purchasing or selling a house.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, what made you decide to get into real estate?
Oh goodness. So I was originally, when I graduated from college, I graduated with a degree in education as a major, and I had a minor in exercise physiology. I wanted to be a physical therapist, but when I was in South Florida, I divorced my first husband, and I had a 4-month-old child and needed a job. So I applied at the YMCA and was hired as the wellness director. So I worked at the Lake Mary YMCA from 1996 until January of 2002. And through that process, I was the wellness director, and then I was promoted to be the membership director. After that, I was the associate executive director. I got very involved in the community. And after 6 years, that was also when September 11th occurred in September of 2001, the same year my son was born. So at that time, my youngest son, Connor, was about 6 months old. And I decided that I really wanted to have a career that allowed me to have some more flexibility to be able to spend time as my boys were growing older. And I had a member at the YMCA say, "You would be awesome at real estate." And I originally thought, wow, that's what all of the retired wives do or doctors' wives do. It's a part-time gig. You can't make a career out of that. But the more I dug into it, the more I did some research, the more I felt like I would be a really good advocate for people because I grew up here. I've watched the development. I've been a part of every market change. I've been involved with the chambers of commerce. I get engaged with the property appraisers. I understand development. My husband is a builder, so he's been building houses for 20 years as well. So between his knowledge of new construction and then my knowledge of resale, I just felt like it was a great fit. And here I am 18 years later, still doing this thing that makes me just super happy every day when I'm able to help somebody achieve their goals.
Yeah, it's a great feeling. Wow. So what was the biggest lesson you learned as you became a successful agent?
Gosh, I would probably say the biggest lesson is to treat people like you're their family, like show them that you care about them. For me, a single transaction is not what I go after. I'm about relationship building. I'm about creating a sense of community, connecting clients with other clients so they have a circle of friends. I believe that, my job is to educate people. My job is to advocate for people. My job is to protect their interests. I don't sell anything. I'm the person who gives advice. I'm the person who tells people to walk away from properties when they're not a good fit or there's inspection issues that we can't work through. Like, I'm the person who believes that you put the client's needs before your own. And as long as you do that, you're always going to be in business because people want to work with somebody that they know cares about them. And I have always said, like, no single transaction is ever going to make me do anything unethical or not in the client's best interest. It's just not how I operate. And, I lead with my heart first. I have a servant's mentality. I believe that our job is to be matchmakers, whether that's with houses or with finding a great hairdresser or sending them to a doctor that they have a need for. So I just think, really the biggest thing that I've learned is that, put people first. If you always are doing the work and you're putting people's interests first, then the business for me will always be there.
You're so right. Why do you refer your clients to Inspectigator?
That is a loaded question in a lot of ways, and I just love it. So I met John in my first year of real estate, and he was the first inspector that I had that I felt like not only was personable, but was the most thorough. Created these incredible reports that not only had all of the things about what he found, but all additional suggestions on home maintenance. And over the years, again, here we are 18 years later and I'm still referring. It's because I believe that, again, they have the best interest of the client at heart. They don't try and blow up transactions. They try and educate people. And it's our job to make sure that we're communicating that information in a way that is understandable. And if we can work something out, great. If we don't work something out, well, it's not, anybody's fault. It's just a matter of the fact that now you have an educated opinion on the things that people need to be aware of. And, over the years, we've continued to maintain a relationship with you all. You've grown. I've watched it happen. I've seen you go from general inspections to thermal imaging cameras to offering warranties to providing education. I just feel like our business models align with each other, that we are actually in service to represent the client. And that's why I stay there.
Thank you. We appreciate that and love people like you.
You're welcome. Well, I'm always telling everybody great things about you. You're the first person I always recommend every single time.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate that. Now, what are some things you love about the Orlando area?
Oh gosh. We have so much to do. I mean, how can you not love Orlando? I mean, even if you're not a theme park person, we have incredible restaurants. We have beaches you can go to. We have so many outdoor recreation areas, whether it's for private springs and kayaking, or it's taking a boat tour in Winter Park, or it's walking in downtown on International Drive. I mean, we have things for families. We have things for single people. We have things for couples. I feel like Orlando is the lifestyle here is incredible. We have weather that's amazing. Yes, it might get hot in the summer and sticky, but you can pretty much be outside, 10, 11 months out of the year and go and do anything, and a lot of states, they're confined to their homes when it's, snowing outside, or they're dealing with, fires and earthquakes and things of that nature. And, we'll get a hurricane here and there, but I've been around and I haven't lost a roof yet. And I'm willing to stay. I think it's great. I think people, when they get here, they really love it. And, there's an endless amount of things to do. That's why Orlando is awesome.
Yeah. I so totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
What have you learned during this coronavirus time?
Oh my goodness. That my hair doesn't want to cooperate, that I have more grays than I want to admit. And really just to focus on the things that are important. I mean, this has made me realize that you can use technology to your benefit to connect with people, just like we are here on this Zoom call. I mean, things that maybe we didn't utilize before. And really just to reach out to people. There's a lot of people who are in need right now, and I try and use every platform to connect, whether it's texting or calling. I'm sending thank you cards. I'm just trying to provide service. We bought toilet paper in bulk and we are donating that. We're taking Easter lilies to families, like really just being that person that provides maybe a little bit of calm in the storm. And in my own household, it's made us more consciously aware of what each of our own needs are. So when I say that, I say that, you know, I like to work out, or I like to read, or I like to, you know, sit in front of my laptop and Facebook with clients. And sometimes I think it's just when you go from day-to-day activity, you don't pay attention to the things that serve you as well, that feed your soul. So I really learned to use this time to not only work, but to reevaluate my priorities, which is my health and exercising. It's quality family time, having dinners together, watching movies together, making a meal together. We've done a lot more things as a family in the last 6 weeks than we probably have done in 20 years, because all I've done is, you know, work, work, work. And so this has made me realize that there's more to life than just the job.
I think that's probably one of the things that most people would say to that question is you've really tried to learn a balance of work and life and just what's really important.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, it takes something like this sometimes to force us into it
right.
because it's just how we are, but how great that we can finally get there.
Well,
Yeah.
and I want to really, you know, I want to utilize the things that I've learned to take them into the future. You know, when we go back to work or the new normal or whatever that's going to look like, you know, I want to make sure that I'm doing the things that I need to do to still take care of myself and my family and keep those, you know, keep those memories from, you know, happening, because that's the reason why we work, right? So that we can enjoy
Exactly.
stuff. But if we're just not enjoying it and all we're doing is, you know, grinding it out every day, well, then that's not, you know, at the end of the day, you look back and you say, what happened in the last 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, you know? So really, again, that balance is super important.
I agree. I agree. So what's something about you that you could share that maybe people don't know about you? Maybe some hidden talents or something unique?
I'm a writer. So when I was in middle school and high school, I was a creative writer. I also wrote a lot of poetry. I had multiple things published. I was on the newspaper staff at my high school for many years, and I really love to write. I love to be funny. I love to be emotional. I love to be supportive. I love to be encouraging. So I've kind of utilized this time. I turned 50 in April, so I created a 50-day countdown for my birthday. So every day I was posting something about things I had learned over my 50 years, which was super cool. I write a letter every month
Yep.
to my clients. It's called a letter of the heart. So it really just explains, you know, things that are happening in my life personally, you know, whether my kids are graduating from high school, or I have a niece and nephew that I took to Disney for the first time, or, you know, things that I personally struggled with, you know, medical setbacks, or, you know, family, you know, challenges. We all have them. And I think that, you know, you being able to be transparent with people lets them know that you're a real person and that everything that they see isn't just all, you know, roses, which is what, you know, people, a lot of times people want to pretend like their life is something that it's really not. And I want people to know that I'm human just like they are, and that I have things that hurt my feelings, and I'll have things that make me happy and excited to look forward to. So I really like to use writing as a way to connect with people. And I feel like that's one of the things that I have that's a strong suit, is I'm able to really relate to them on different levels. It doesn't have to be work related all the time.
I agree. And it's one of the things I admire about you is how you're very structured in getting that newsletter out every month. I admire that. I aspire to it, but I haven't started one because I can't say that I can commit to making it every single month like that. So for now, I'm not, but maybe someday you inspire me to put it on a list, and someday it may happen.
Well, you know, and it's interesting. We send out about 400 letters a month. And it's not unusual for me to get phone calls or text messages after a certain letter. I mean, there was a letter that I wrote earlier this year that explained some things that I had been through in my life, and they were traumatic. I was in an abusive marriage. I was raped at a young age. My biological mother, left me with my father when I was, less than the age of 5. All really kind of traumatic things that could have, if I looked at them differently or I handled my life differently, could have taken me down a different road where I was a victim, and I was somebody who could not overcome those things. And I really feel like so many of those things people have been through that they just don't talk about, because they tuck them aside, and I really felt like this was a cleansing opportunity for me and a way for me also to connect with people. I got so many responses. It was the most responded to letter that I've ever written. And people were basically just saying, oh my gosh, I had no idea that you ever went through anything like that, because you're always so positive and
Yeah.
optimistic, encouraging and outgoing. And, my answer to that was, I made a choice. We all have a choice every day. There's going to be bad things that happen. People are going to lose their jobs. They're going to lose their spouses. They're going to have, financial challenges. They're going to have issues where they're not sure if they're going to be able to get through it. It's a divorce. And so I want to be a resource. I want to be somebody that people can pick up the phone and call and talk to. Just because they bought or sold a house with me does not mean that that is the end of our relationship. That's just the beginning. The
Right.
beginning for me is, being there for them. And really, I'm a believer, and I believe that, God has called me to serve others and called me to be there for them in a time of need. And as long as I'm doing that, then I feel like real estate is the platform. It's not what I do for a living. It's what I do for God. And He provides that platform for me to be able to serve.
Right. Right. And like we were talking earlier, how much time and effort and energy, you're placing people in a home that's right for them, in
Mm.
a neighborhood that's right for them, in a part of town that's going to be great for whether it be school or for work or commutes and all that. And so by the time you invest all that in them, like you develop a relationship, like they're part of your life because you have really put so much into that. So I think it all just lends more to that this is not just a transaction. This is
Right.
a method of getting to know and developing relationships and giving them what God is supposed to have you give to them, the
Yeah. Well,
foundation and
yeah.
comfort and
Yes.
community.
Yeah. Well, and I would say, sadly, as in every industry, there are going to be people who are in my industry that are transaction oriented. They go after one transaction after the other, and they couldn't tell you whether that family had a dog. They couldn't tell you what those people do for a living. They
Right.
couldn't tell you how old their kids are. I mean, every single one of my clients gets a birthday card on their birthday. Their kids, if I know their kids' birthdays, they get a birthday card on their birthday. We send out anniversary cards. We want to make sure that we're connecting with you in multiple ways, so that way you understand that our relationship with you is more critical than any financial transaction we would ever do. And I always have made it very clear to people that, I want you as a client forever, and I want you to feel comfortable referring me out. And if you know that I care about you and you know that I care about your family, then I would think that you're going to be more inclined to feel comfortable referring me to your family and friends. So yes, it's a business strategy, but it's not done with business in mind. It's really done with whatever's the best interest of the client in mind. And there are times where I'm not the right fit for somebody, and I'll tell them that, or they'll tell me that, and that's okay, because, not everybody operates like I do. If you're a hit and run kind of individual and you don't really care, what's happening in the transaction, then maybe you're going to handle it differently than I would. And that's all right too. There's a right fit for every client.
Yeah. Very good. Well, thank you so much for your time, my dear friend. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that.
You're incredible people, great inspectors, and I'm just grateful to have you in my life.
Well, thank you. Now be
You're
sure to send me
welcome.
those pictures so that I can
Okay.
put together a little video for you, okay?
All right.